Welcome to the When We Cry Book Club podcast, where we will be discussing Umineko's 4th episode. This is the 8th part of our episode discussion and our first recording in like a year-long hiatus. I am your host, Lorenzo.
I am your sentenced Des, and
And there's also your friendly neighborhood mushroom. Hello.
Yes, our big muscular Des and our muscle-enjoying mushroom.
Very good.
For context, I just found out the C in muscle is silent.
You still said it the wrong way. It's muscles.
Yeah, cause that's I need to be a little quirky. How else am I gonna maintain my
make sense.
identity as a host here?
Like if you look at the word muscle, like you have to pronounce the C, right? Muscle. If you say it fast enough, like no one's gonna know. Muscle. Actually, you will. Just kidding. That's a pretty sharp.
Yes.
Not to be a linguist. Welcome to our linguistics podcast, where we will be discussing the. Yeah, it's been a while. How have you guys been?
It's been approximately 2 months.
Yeah, that's really intense. I have no idea how do we do it for this long. Who wants to go first? I have lots of things to say, but I will.
Me too. I will go second. Lorenzo, take the lead.
I can just chill. I remember that bingo thing you brought up last time.
True.
Okay,
it's updated.
Guys, mark your bingo boards. I finished Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yo!
True neutral route. It took forever, but it was actually really fun. Like, it streamlined grinding, which I never do, and I also never hit max level in the SMT game, which I did for SMT 5.
Oh, damn.
But anyways, enough video games. I want to talk about the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh my god, I really want to see it. Sorry, I haven't seen it, so you can't
have to.
tell me anything. But yes, I'm gonna go see it this weekend. That's why.
I will say, thank God, because as Umineko fans, like, you guys would go off the walls for this thing. I think
really?
Like so the understanding of Umineko, not to sound like a snob, but like from consuming this sort of media, like this meta narrative bullshit, I think it really helps with like a first time watch through of the movie.
Yeah.
So like with that in mind, you can like piece together, you can catch on to a lot of things that like.
I was gonna say, like, that movie, the reason why I heard so much about the movie is also because I watched the behind the scenes about how they made the like special effects, and like how like it's so cool how they did it. Like, that's like, it's only a really small team. I think it's like 6 people team that basically made like a budget of like a Hollywood movie.
Everything Everywhere?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! What the heck? They're so talented.
There's only 6 people. There's literally 6 people.
They did everything everywhere
all at once. Oh shit.
They I think they also made the Turn Down for What music video, and it really shows.
Yeah, they talk about so the idea is that, like, I watched their Wire video because I was just curious, and they talked about how they used to just make music videos, and they were like, music videos, you turn them out quick, you make them cheap. And so they basically, like, there's a scene where, like, she gets blasted away into a bunch of streets, and, like, she's traveling, blah, blah, blah. And they basically achieved that by just, having a GoPro on a stick, walking at a normal speed all that up, putting her on a chair, rolling her. Like, it's just, like, the most, like, way of, like, explaining it. It sounds so interestingly mundane, and, like, the product that comes out is so cool.
Right. And, like, not to be gatekeepy. Okay, so like there's this Facebook page, for those who don't know, called Subtle Asian Traits, and I hate it with a burning passion because essentially it like says, as an Asian, do you guys ever experience this? Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, I'm Asian, and this is like the only thing Asians experience. And I'm like, I hate like the gatekeepy nature of being of experiencing your culture. It kind of like distills aspects of your culture, and then it kind of creates a camaraderie that
it's memifying your own culture in a way. Like, you're
exactly.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
And there's nothing bad with that. I just hate the gatekeepy part. But
100%.
Everything Everywhere makes it Subtle Asian Traits the movie, and it does an awesome job. I'm like, what the hell? I like hate this Facebook group, but it like
it's funny.
It hits home in a lot of ways.
Did you watch Turning Red?
I haven't.
Oh, you
but I
should.
heard it was also good.
Yeah, it was really funny because Turning Red was the subtle Asian moment for me. I was like, wow, I feel so called out by this fucking movie. It was just like really funny. Like there's like scenes in that movie where she's like, oh, like she like draws like shitty anime art, or like, there's a scene where her room is lined up with plushies. It's like it's and how like her moms come visit her and she gives her like it's like after dinner, so her mom brings her like fruit on a plate. Like I know, like it's just like really weirdly subtle Asian things that I just like find incredibly funny. It's like the whole thing about like, have your mother ever put like plastic wrap on your on your
TV
remote
remote?
control? Like yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio, like that's me. That's
Yeah,
me meme.
exactly.
And my friend said that Turning Red and Everything Everywhere fall under the genre of Asian parents saying sorry.
Yes, it's 100%.
Which is like high fantasy because that never happens.
It's so good. It's like so good. I'm not even gonna joke about this, but like I like Lorenzo, you should go watch like Turning Red. Like I literally watched
try my
Turning Red
best.
and I cried and I was like, what the fuck is happening to me? Like,
Yeah, my friend said so too.
yeah, I was like, oh, well, like when the mom said something, and I was like, wow, damn. I guess approval is what I seeked all my life. What the fuck? Or not
I
like
mean-
like approval, but you get the idea. You'll watch it and you're like, ah, yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
well, Everything Everywhere does that times 10 because like I actually like I was trying really hard to keep it in and I couldn't. I made a mess in the theater. I also made a mess at the Twice concert because I saw them again like, this past weekend. Oh, love those bitches.
Congratulations.
Like, oh, they're amazing.
Honestly speaking, Lorenzo, the reason
Yeah?
why you are the one who hosts book club is because your segues are just immaculate.
Oh, thanks. I think I just have no control over my life, so I just say whatever's on the top of my head. Vibes.
Okay, so after
What's with you? Yeah.
so
go
Des,
on.
do you want to go next, or do you want me to go
Okay,
next?
yeah, before I go, you mentioned the bingo, and the bingo is now updated with two submissions from our viewers.
Wait, I have to see it. I need to see if I can help you guys mark off more boxes.
Yeah, so there's still 3 spaces left, so it's on screen right now. If you have any new ideas, comment, and we'll add it. We'll add the ideas to the bingo card. So right now, the new squares are Everyone Thinks on George by Horsefry, and Big Fella commented Dubs being mentioned, and I just wrote Dubs Chronicles because that's cooler.
Oh,
That's
well,
funny.
Dubs is working today, so mark that off your bingo sheets, everyone.
No, that's Ambi. Lorenzo.
Oh, wait, no, sorry, shit. No, we're talking about Andy. Oop. Oh. Oh, cut that
It's
out.
okay. Ambi is working. I'll. It's funny. I have a funny story about Ambi in a bit.
Oh damn.
Technically, we did mention Dubs by, like, announcing this square, so that's like a free box.
Don't worry. I have things to announce about Dubs. Actually, I'll just announce it right now. Dubs
Okay.
finished EP4, and then because
hell yeah.
but the problem is Dubs is really busy, so Dubs really haven't been able to do much like theory thinking or even to talk to me. What a piece of shit. Anyway.
Oh, how could they?
Anyway, they have a summer job and they're gonna be really busy. So, but
Fair.
basically, our next step I told them that they're not allowed to basically continue to read more because basically after he finished reading EP4, he was like, "Oh my god, I want to read EP5 right now," and I was like, "Actually, hold your horses, young man. Go fucking reread all your 40 pages of notes before you get to move on."
Yes. Oh, for sure. I mean, we have to, like, pour over it like SpongeBob and Patrick on that map they couldn't look at.
Damn, Mushroom, you're really backseating Dubs, huh?
Well, it's more just like, yeah, I am, but I mean, I also backseat his life in general. So it's
What?
You're ratatouilleing his life.
oh no,
Just-
100%. I'm ratatouilleing like 5 people's lives. During, I think I mentioned this last time we were recording on the stage of the Golden Witch, but I got like COVID, and during COVID, I was like really stupid. Like my brain just stops fucking working because your COVID brain and you're like tired and shit. And then like what's the most insane thing about it is that people still cannot stop themselves but tell me their deepest, darkest secrets. So throughout the whole COVID time, I was also getting blasted by like human HR problems that I have to help people solve because, you know, I just get to know like what everybody's doing constantly, basically.
Mushroom, you're I don't know if you've realized, but you're the main character in some game, and these random NPCs just keep telling you their most deep like life things for you to deal with.
Yeah, no, I don't even think I'm the protagonist, but I'm definitely like a secret hidden boss or like the White Sage character. But like I literally was just like 5 people came to me with clown ass information about their clown ass life, and then I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Side quests.
Clown ass information? What do you mean clown information? What clownery's going on in people?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what the clown information is, and hopefully when whoever listens to this in my life gets to hear that they already either know this information or it's too far in the future that they will never know what the information is. But currently there's a real life love triangle happening in my life right now.
Yo.
Like,
Hell yeah.
That
Oh
doesn't,
my god.
Nice.
like, it's not like, of course, like, it's fun. Like, it's so funny to the point that all the people who are involved in the love triangle felt comfortable enough to tell me about it. And meanwhile, like, I also...
Like, in separate instances?
Yes!
Oh, fuck.
Well, one of them, I went to confront them about it because I knew... Okay, the thing is, I'm not in a love triangle. I just know all 3 of these people, and I was just like... I basically suspected there might be something happening, so I just basically went and confronted a friend of mine and was like... blah blah blah, is this true? Like, because I get vibes from it. And then they were like, oh, it is true. And I was like, okay. And then later on, like the day before, somebody else came up to me being like, oh, blah blah blah, I have a crush on blah blah. And I was like, okay, cool. And then later on, basically my friend was like, hey, could you just tell that person that I have a crush on them? Like,
what?
I want you to tell them so
Why?
they could feel less pressured to like reply to me. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Kind of,
Still
yes.
kind of weird, but
no,
sure.
like, as well, it makes more sense in the scenario if you knew these people or anything. But anyway,
Okay.
basically I told this person somebody had a crush on them, but then I also tell them another piece of information. And then when I ended the conversation, I was like, hey, isn't that really clownish? And the person replied to me was like, hey, do you want to hear something even more clownish than that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, I have a crush on this other person. And I was like, oh my god, it came full circle. What the fuck?
in full triangle.
No, full triangle. So yeah, so the person who wanted me to tell them that they liked them, the other person didn't like them back. But the other person I went to confront, who had a crush on the other person, actually had mutual crushes on each other.
Oh.
But the problem is, the person who had a crush on the other person is currently trying to get out of a really bad relationship.
Ooh.
And is like breaking up with their current partner. So like they couldn't even act upon their like decision if they wanted to, because they're currently still trying to get out of a slightly messy like relationship of 4 years.
This sounds hella interesting, Mushroom.
Jesus, what the hell?
You got entertainment for days.
Yes, okay, could you imagine me like sick and dying on my fucking bed during COVID, and meanwhile getting blasted information by every other person calling me for 3 hours to explain their personal side, and then and also it was a wild time.
Fun. Very fun.
That's nuts. Thanks for sharing. What the
That's
hell?
not even the story I wanted to tell Dust about. That's just a bonus thing.
Oh yeah, Mushroom is like very excited to tell us about something. We're still gonna have to wait a bit for
Okay,
that.
are you ready? Are you ready, Dust?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Mushroom, come on. The climax comes at the end.
Okay, fine. Okay, then you can go first, Dust.
So, I have one little thing to tell you about, and then another thing. So, the first little thing is this is the first book club episode where I'm actually using the mic I bought. So, yay!
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Clap.
Congrats.
Yes.
You don't have to suffocate and die at the same time.
True.
While you do episodes, which is great.
I spent $1,200 on. No, wait, is that right? No, 120 bucks.
Ooh, I was gonna say 1,200.
Wow, that's a lot of money. I did not buy my mic for that
Yeah,
much.
English numbering is fucking stupid. Who the fuck says 1,200? So
Who the fuck says muscles, huh? No, just kidding.
Wait, you bought it for $1,000?
no. I said the number wrong because your language is stupid. Here am I
okay.
insulting two people on call right now, who I'm gonna have to share this virtual space with.
It's fine. I don't. English is not remotely my first. Is English my first language? Actually, JK lol. English is my first language. Fuck.
Well, anyway, point of the story is it's $120, and it's kind of expensive. But I was like, I plan on doing this thing for quite some time.
Yeah.
And even if the podcast ends, I also want to do other things that. For which a mic would come really in handy, so I think it's a nice investment, and I don't have to fucking die every time we record an episode in this fucking room, so nice.
Congrats.
And the thing I actually really wanted to tell you about is I have, it's already finished now, but I have been an intern for the past month.
Congrats.
So my degree is 3 degrees put together. One
Wow.
of the degrees in this fucking degree soup is radiotherapy, and that's the area in which I was an intern in. And, the classes are boring as fucking balls, but then you're there doing it, and it's really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Practical experience is more valuable than school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a really good friend who's a radiologist, and she's just, she's just like, it's better than being a doctor, and it makes you shitloads of money. Just like it's just a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I hate radiology, but that's probably where I'm gonna end up in, because that's where the most empty spaces for people to work in is.
I mean, if you like it, then go for
I
it.
don't.
Yeah.
I fucking hate radiology.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Or no, you should, so you can feed your expensive interests.
Right. Make that money, I guess.
No,
But
I'd rather have time than money.
Okay then.
if it can give you a lot of time, then yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Des, what else have you been doing?
I have been waiting for your story, Mushroom.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
I am.
I started playing Genshin.
Oh, I stopped playing Genshin.
Okay, good
Oh,
job.
congrats.
Okay, question. Why did you stop playing Genshin?
Because it's boring. It's such a stupid fucking game. Like, the lore.
It is a stupid fucking game.
The lore is amazing, but then the gameplay is so bad.
Really? I like the
Yes.
gameplay.
Okay, you like the gameplay because you haven't been playing for enough time.
Okay.
At a certain point, you're just like, this gameplay is just filler gameplay.
Okay. The thing about me is that like I have 400 hours on Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
Like,
but do you
that-
want to compare Breath of the Wild?
No, like, but I mean by that is that like I could just wander the world. Like it doesn't really matter that much to me. Like, do you want to guess? Do you want to guess what AR I am on?
What?
Do you want to
AR?
guess
Oh,
what
adventure rank.
AR? Yeah.
Okay, since you're asking, I'm gonna shoot for 40.
Oh, I'm on 34.
Oh, funny number.
I started,
Love the
like-
Delta.
I literally started like while I was in quarantine.
In your personal quarantine.
Because I was so bored. I was like, okay, time to start new hobbies. Not start new hobbies. I literally was like, time to get my friend to open up a Minecraft server and then also go start playing Genshin Impact.
Okay, who's your favorite character up until now?
My favorite person I use a lot is Rosaria.
Oh, Rosaria's fucking cool. I like her.
Yeah, Rosaria's good. I really like her. Her like she's a really fast character, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the one I've been building a lot. That's what it is. Oh, also, this is my nationalism arc, so I've been playing the whole game in Chinese.
Ah.
Is it better that way?
It has some really nice voice actors.
Well, it's because I hate the English voice acting. I hate the English voice acting. I think Paimon sounds so fucking annoying.
What? You don't like emergency food?
Yes, I fucking hate Paimon in English.
Have you guys watched Hereditary?
No.
Oh my god, yes. Why Hereditary?
What? Because Payman's the one of the central figures of that movie. So
Oh,
I'm like,
shut up.
I mean, no spoilers for the movie since Des hasn't seen it. But when you watch it, imagine the Genshin voice actor whenever Payman comes up. So
Ah, fun.
Thank
go
you.
nuts.
Oh, damn. But then you're missing. It's It's actually a win-win lose-lose situation because you have great things about the English dub, but I also hear that the Chinese dub is fucking amazing with the hidden meaning, especially in some of the characters from Lila.
Yeah, I mean, I just really like the Chinese dub or Chinese one because it's just like I love like I was really good at classical Chinese when I was in school. Classical Chinese, it's just like you look like it's like Shakespearean English type feeling. Like you just learn a lot about it. You learn like poetry, blah blah. Like it's also really maddening because like I have people in my life who play Genshin, and the way how they pronounce Genshin names just like it's not that I want to correct them, is that I literally don't know what they're talking about because to me like so there's characters like Xiangling, right? Like,
Xiangling.
So like people like usually if I talk to my friends they pronounce her like Xiangling like or Rangling or something, but like Rangling doesn't make any sense because her name is Xing, and if I was to pronounce it it's Xiang like Xiangling, and what they pronounce it is like Rangling, which is ZHANG, which is a different thing because in Chinese there's XI, QI, ZHI, CHI, and SHI, and all those things pronounced differently. And like
getting really heated up here.
No, but like what I'm trying to say is that like I'm not really a person who get mad at like people not being able to pronounce things right because I understand like Chinese is hard, but like what drives me crazy is like then I just don't know what they're talking about because how they pronounce Zhongli in Xingchu is like literally like indistinguishable because their mouths just don't know how to make those noises.
Well, to be fair, neither do the mouths of the VAs, which is where we get the pronunciation from.
You know the character who like is the water boy, the little water boy who's like who likes reading books?
Chincho?
Yeah, how would you pronounce his name?
I just did, Chincho.
Chincho. Okay, good. Like that's actually really good. So the thing is, but his name is also an X name, so it's Xingqiu. Like so, if I were to fucking pronounce it, I would be like Xingqiu, which is not similar to Jingqiu or Qingqiu, which will be QING, XING, or JING, which are all pronounced slightly differently. Like, what is this? But yeah, that's my slight rant about pronunciation. Not because I think it's bad and I like the fact that they have really cool Chinese names. It just makes talking about them incredibly difficult because people just don't know how to pronounce it.
I understand.
I feel bad.
But it's also like Chinese has so many sounds you don't hear in English. It's also fun trying to imitate it.
Yeah, I think it's good. I the reason why I call it my nationalism arc is because I'm like I'm like having a good time like playing the game because it makes me appreciate like the cool parts of China without having to think about like all the bad parts about it, if that makes any sense. Like I'm like, oh, like I get to enjoy good Chinese music, like I get to like enjoy like cool designs, like I like the Wallow Lita looks, like and like all that stuff. And meanwhile I don't have to be like, wow, if I was in China I can't go on Twitter to go look at nice art or go read on AO3 or something like without thinking about that type of stuff, if that makes any sense.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your experience with Genshin Impact.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Des. You should be more supportive of my nationalism arc.
Well, did you know there's a racist lens in Genshin Impact? Literally, your blade basically is more powerful the more characters from the China-inspired country you have in your party.
Yeah, you think so?
It's literally what it does. It gets more powerful the more characters from the Chinese country you have in your party. It's the racism blade.
Thank you. Wow.
But well, maybe we should get into Umi next.
Yeah, exactly. 25 minutes in and we haven't talked anything about Umineko yet.
What were we talking about?
Okay.
Okay.
Lorenzo.
Let's see. Well, where did we leave off? Well, I know where we left off. We left off with Beato sucking. I wrote sulking, but I said sucking. Yeah, she's sucking over the fact that Battler cannot remember the sin he committed 6 years prior and decided to pause the game indefinitely, which is bad news for Ange and Lambda and Burncastel, because what else are they going to do with their lives?
Play Genshin Impact. Okay.
Play Genshin Impact and be racist, I guess. But anyways, we cut back to Ange, Amakusa, and Kawabata on the way to Rokenjima.
Wait, I just want to say one more thing before we move on. I do have to say I am racist, but I'm racist against Asian people. That's just how it is. I'm sorry.
Me too. I perpetuate Asian hate.
Yeah, no, exactly. My friends and I keep saying this, but whenever we hang out, when we say anything mean to each other, we're like, yes, this is the Asian on Asian violence that we keep hearing about. It's just
Yes, I am Asian. Yes, I am Asian phobic.
yes, I hate them.
We
Yeah, we exist. Exactly.
I mean, TBH, everyone's racist everywhere all at once. So,
Thank you, Lorenzo, for pulling it all together.
can't really fight it. Anyways. Ange, Yamakusa, and Kawabata are on their way to Rokunjima from Nijima Island, and they're all talking about how there was, in fact, a second mansion and port that Kawabata used to bring supplies to all the time. And then at one point they just stopped going, and then he was told to not talk about it. And Angie's like, oh, because Beatrice died, huh? And they're like, there I go with saying like over and over again.
It's fine. You're a Valley girl, and we have accepted you for that fact.
Yeah.
It's fine, Lorenzo. You're in a call with Mushroom, who's like the queen of that.
Yes, true. Did you know that I actually actively go back into the recording to edit out all my likes? And so whenever I hear Des edit the recordings, I notice that sometimes you just leave it in. And I'm like, wow, now I'm going to kill myself now. Cries.
Yeah. Mushroom, okay, when I leave your likes in the video, it's because I'm just fucking tired of taking them out, Mushroom. You have no idea.
No, I understand.
How many times you say...
I understand. I'm so sorry, Des. I'm a horrible person.
Okay, no, I need to vent for a solid minute. So I
Go for it, yeah.
sometimes, Mushroom, you just can't. You're like an engine that just doesn't start. You're like trying to say your take, and you're just like... The thing is like... Okay, but the thing is like, and I'm like, Mushroom, what the fuck?
I'm so sorry. I sometimes get really scattered brain when I'm trying to think of something, and my brain just stops working, and I just die. There's just nothing happening in there. I'm so sorry. I'll do better this episode, I promise.
I hope you keep all of my likes and my subscribes in this recording.
Okay.
So, anyways, that's my new word next to like.
Anyways, I know, I understand.
Let's see. We'll have like a vote on your phones. Am I gonna say like or anyways more often? Anyways, like anyways. They're neck and neck. Where was I even? Okay, so everybody's talking about how there was definitely a Kuadorian mansion on the island. It was a well-kept secret, and at one point, like, the supplies flow and trash take awayness. I can't think of it. Anyways, all the transport that was going to and from the Kuadorian side of the island was kept a secret, and they surmised that Beatrice died.
Good.
At some point in the past. And if Kuadorian was such a well-kept secret, then how did Ava get there in the first place? So perhaps there was a tunnel that led there and allowed Ava to survive whatever disaster happened on the island. Upon landing, Angie makes her way to the heart of Rokenjima, bypasses a barrier that's closed off, according to the government, and makes her way to a cliffside. And Mammon and Sakutara are confused as to why she stopped here because there's no mansion wherever she ended up. Angie resolves for this to be her moment of closure and pays her respects to her missing family and says, haha, like 10 minutes ago, I would have totally jumped off this cliff, but right now I'm just going to like say my prayers and leave.
Yeah, and it's also funny because she keeps talking about how like right now she's standing on the precipice between like 1998 and 2000
and the present.
What the fuck am I saying? 1998 and 1986, and she's like, maybe if I walk across this, then I'm gonna connect to the day, like the day of the mansion or the mansion of that day.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really nice metaphor because she's saying like this slope is so steep that if I go down there, I just can't come back, which is the perfect metaphor for. She's like, this is the barrier between the present time and whatever happened that day. This is as far as I can go, and if I were to go back to the past, I wouldn't be able to come back just like the rest of my family. So it's a really nice parallel.
Yeah, it's a pretty good connection.
Yeah.
I would have thought, oh, it's just a cliff, and if you jump off the cliff, you die.
Shut up.
Well, yeah, that too. She was also thinking about jumping off a cliff.
So good point.
Also, I was gonna say, right where this chapter starts, there's a really funny transition because you come from this really depressing scene of Beato just fucking giving up on the game. And then
and then
Mzaki,
immediately hard cucks and Monochrome Club.
Yeah. And then Ange's like,
classic.
Max, I think turn that off.
And he's like, you don't like Mzaki? It's so good.
Because like the scene transitions and you're like, why this song now? What the fuck? What is this changing theme? And then you realize it's an actual part of the plot that's happening.
Yeah, it's good. It's a funny hard cut.
Yes,
agreed. Angie's paying her respects. She starts her prayers to Maria and apologizes for perverting magic and ruining the mariage sociere. And then, suddenly, Kasumi and her goons approach her, pin her down, and hold her at gunpoint. Kasumi spills her metaphorical bile at Angie, cursing Kyrie for ruining her own life. And she says that she's going to take her anger out on Angie instead. Angie recognizes Kasumi's misery, and she thinks it bears a strong resemblance to Rosa and Ava's. And she also thinks about how miserable Maria was and how she steeled herself anyways through her own misery via magic. Does that make sense? Maria was able to, like, instead of becoming like a massive bitch, essentially, she used her own magic to see the good in things
and keep the cycle from perpetuating.
Yeah, I actually read we had this really interesting conversation on Twitter. Like, I had this conversation with somebody else, and so I wanted to ask everybody, is like, do you think like Maria had the chance, or would she be able to like break the cycles of abuse? Maria got really into like black magic, blah blah blah, like, you know, she got really upset and, you know, she started cursing her mother. But like, do you think like if she grown out to be an adult, would she be an abusive person, or, you know, she would just have been like
messed up in other ways?
Yeah, like, you know, because my argument is that I actually think like she was like, you know, like I thought Maria was able to actually successfully break cycles of violence because, you know, when she was upset, she didn't she could have lashed out to Angie, who was, you know, younger than her, and, you know, be really mean to Angie, but, you know, she didn't. She invited her into Maria's Sociedad, and, you know, she was rightfully upset when when Angie rejected her, but, you know, all that happens, and then later on, you know, Maria doesn't mistreat any of her furniture, which are also dominions that she, technically speaking, have control over. And that, you know, that really shows her control. Like, you know, she didn't put the abuse that she was received from her onto her furniture.
That's a good point. Now that you mention it, I do agree with you. But in regards to her relationship with her mother, I think that was always gonna go south as it ended up going.
Oh, 100%.
With or without Angie. Because I think Angie just sped up the process. It was gonna end up happening either way.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, because I mean, like, the things about, like, well, I guess, like, you know, being really, like, basically resentful of your mother, who, you know, kind of abused you all your life, I don't think that part is a wrong thing to feel, because, you know, that is what happened to her. And like, I mean, like, of course, like, the people who I talked about this on Twitter with also interjected with the fact that, like, you know, like, we don't know how how Maria would have responded, because, you know, Maria was too young, so she, you know, she doesn't even have the chance to, you know, do lots of war crimes yet, so, which I thought was interesting. But that was just like a funny, interesting tip that I had with the conversation, and I was like, oh, I guess people have a lot of opinions about it, which I also did, so.
Right,
yeah, and still on the topic of Angie and Maria, in this part of the story, Angie is basically regretting what she did to Maria and apologizing to Maria. And it's just, even though Angie is so, like, in regards with what she learned from Maria, even though she's so detached from Rosa, she's also kind of like in tune with Rosa, in the sense that both of them keep hurting Maria and then apologizing. Then they hurt Maria again and then apologize again.
right.
It just keeps happening.
It's a vicious cycle.
I feel like it's a theme of some sort, Yuikishi with his, you know, funny little themes.
Angie regrets how she treated Ava in retrospect, how she was cold and distant after, you know, the whole family tragedy, and how they were really all they had left. And instead of
connecting with each other. They
of,
just,
enjoying each other's presence, they pushed each other away. Angie empathizes with her pain and imagines a world where she would have been able to use this white magic to seek the happiness that they could find when they were with each other, instead of, what actually happened. Ava Beatrice appears and teams up with Kasumi. Angie has her shonen moment where she tries not to give in to the hate and prove that she's the bigger person. And then Kasumi counters that by reading Maria's diary and tearing it up before her eyes. She's like, look how cringe this 7-year-old's diary is, and goes...
She doesn't even realize it's Maria's. She's under the impression that this is all things that Ange wrote.
Oh, shit. That's even more embarrassing.
Yeah, she keeps being like, "Oh, Ange, your diary is so fucking stupid. Who are you for diaries for babies?" And then she just rips them apart.
She rips up her copy of Diary of a Wimpy Kid in front of her, and she's like, "No, don't do that."
Okay, honestly speaking, I want to say this, but I'm pretty sure we should put Diary of a Wimpy Kid as a bingo mark, because I feel like for some reason we have mentioned Diary of the Wimpy Kid so fucking much on this podcast, and I actually never seen that goddamn movie
or read the book.
Oh damn.
You have to. It's a good book. That's why it keeps getting referenced.
But the other thing I was gonna say is that I think, like, while Des and I were talking about this chunk, and Des was like, "Oh, I really like this part," and I was like, "Nah, I fucking hate it." And Des was like, "What?" And I was like, "I think this part is way too long." And it's funny because I read this with Dubs, and Dubs basically got so bored in the middle of the rap battle. He was like, "This is grinding the story to a halt." He's like, "When is the story gonna continue?"
What? No, I like it so much. Dubs is fucking wrong.
I think the scene is good, but a scene drags, if that makes any sense. I think, like, at a certain point, I feel like they have hammered in a point, and then they just hammer it even more.
I think it makes... Okay, I agree. I definitely think it could have been more synthesized. I definitely, was reading it and I was thinking, Rikish, you've already said this 2 lines ago. There's no point in this. But also, it kind of helps drive home the point that Angie's just there. She's just there, listening to this woman go on and on. She can do nothing about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Umineko is the only type of fiction where, in any other story, if a character says, "and then we talked for 2 hours," it just, fades to black. But, like, Umineko is the only type of fiction if they said,
it shows
they talked for 2 hours, and they just talked for 2 fucking hours.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. I mean,
also, you get one of the hardest lines in Umineko. There's many hard lines in Umineko. But then fucking Kasumi tells Ange, "I detest your mother enough to make me spit blood." And then Ange replies, "Glad to hear it. Keep up the good work."
She's like, "Bleed to death, bitch."
It's just... I mean, honestly speaking, I just love Ange because she's just like a cool character.
Yeah. She's unhinged. She has no filter. She's like, "I hate you."
She's an edgelord.
She is kind of an edgelord, and we love her for it.
I swear, she would bike over to her enemy in the love triangle and try to stab them to death.
Just don't say that.
Anyways,
why did you just interject that into you?
I have to maintain the balance, Where was I? They were ripping up the diary. They thought it was Angie's, even though it's Maria's, and Angie just loses her shit. She summons the Demon Stake girls and sicks them on Kasumi's crew. And the Demon Stakes or I think Sakutaro is like, "What the heck? How do you do that? Like, this is so impressive considering everybody else here has enough anti-magic toxin to cancel everything out." All the goons start falling left and right, presumably from the demon stakes going sicko mode on them, and then everyone died. The end. Even Angie's vision of Ava.
I also have a question for Lorenzo. So I know you really have some heavy opinions about Maria, but you've gotta at least have felt bad for her when Kasumi was tearing the diary apart, right?
No.
I mean, she's dead. She didn't get to experience that. Angie, however,
Still.
I was like, oh, that's cold. Oh, that's very cold. But at the same time, I'm like, it's Maria's. I don't care.
Damn, there's really no way to make you feel for Maria, is there?
Honestly speaking, like the most coldest person ever is actually just Lorenzo.
He is very cool.
Opinion about children.
Angie finds herself back on the hospital rooftop, and she's talking to Byrne. Byrne asks if she's satisfied with the end of her journey, and Angie says that she understands that she's been duped and her family won't actually come back. And she also says that she still can't forfeit Battler to Beatrice. Angie intrudes into the Golden Lands, gets herself between Maria and Beatrice enjoying each other's company, and Angie provokes Maria, hell yeah, and asks if she can revive Sakutaro. She's like, can you revive Sakutaro? Because I can, stupid bitch. And if I do, you gotta leave this Golden Lands. And that's enough to convince Maria to, agree on those terms.
Damn, beating her at her own game? What a way to flex, Angie.
Yeah, right. And Beato protests. She says that she'll crumble the universe between them as it needs at least two people. And despite Beato stating red truth that magic that isn't her own can't exist, Angie somehow manages to revive the Sakutaro plushie.
She says this red truth, which is basically magic cannot revive Sakutaro. She says my magic cannot cannot revive Sakutaro, but like the my part is actually not red truth. It's just magic cannot.
Oh, really? Okay. So she says that. She also says that it's a one-of-a-kind plushie that was handmade by Maria and cannot...
Rosa.
Sorry. No, it was a unique plushie made by Rosa. It's a one-of-a-kind that can't be...
replicated.
Replaced. But she can't say that. She can't say the one-of-a-kind part.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Which is
let me pause.
weird.
Give me a second.
Yeah, go for it. We'll just vibe and stand here. I gotta be honest, my allergies are so messy right now. My nose is like, I'm being a real mouth breather is what I'm saying. So if I sound weird, it's because of that.
I get it. When my allergies hit me, they really hit me.
Yeah, same. and a cough. I hope it's not COVID, because there's like a anime convention going on this weekend, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot miss it again.
When my allergies hit me, I also get when you have to scratch something. I get such an itchy nose.
Fair. Welcome back.
Oh, what? Do you get an itchy nose from something?
Yeah,
we're just talking about allergies.
Oh my god, I am dying from trees.
Yeah, if it sounds like I'm mouth breathing, it's because of that. So, anyways, anyways. Beato can't say that the plushie was a one-of-a-kind in red, and the reunion between Maria and Sakutaro puts her at peace, and she leaves the Golden Lands along with Sakutaro. Angie assures that a different version of Maria is still out there in Battler's world, and Beato's pissed that Angie let Maria leave. So the game resumes. Byrne and Lambda come and pit Beato and Battler against each other. Battler still being a little piss baby about not being Asumu's son, but Angie rebuts that with the blue truth and says that as long as Battler is Rudolph's son, he still qualifies as a player in the game.
Yeah.
She goads Battler into red truthing his validity in the Ishuramiya family, and eventually says that Angie is his little sister. Battler also states that he can't trust the red truth at all. And then Angie drops her Gretel alias and reveals her true identity to give Battler the final push he needs to resume the game. And with that, she violates her contractual obligation to not tell Battler that she's his sister. And Angie goes ragu mode and turns into a pile of meat. Battler and Beatrice regains their motivation. Sorry, I'm like making up words and also mouth breathing. It's got me good. Battler and Beatrice regain their motivation to resume the game and title drop. Umineko no Nakakoro where the seagulls cry. The end of the episode.
I feel like at this point they have title drop like 5 different times.
Yeah.
And we love to see it.
On the 4th episode. But yeah, that's the end of our spoiler-free discussion, and that is the end of the main chunk of episode 4. If you have not read the entirety of Umineko...
I have some non-spoiler thoughts.
Me too.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go for it.
So, Des, do you want to go first?
No, you can go mush the room.
So one of the things that I want to mention was that Dubs was reading this part and he was like basically telling me that like he was like, damn, I didn't think I cared about Angie this much until she started fucking dying. To the point that
Angie Burger.
he got into other calls with my friends and he was like, character died. I don't believe she's dead. She can't be dead. She has to come back. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, but like, she's so like they were like, they literally set her character up this much. Like, I didn't just read a fucking whole episode where they just talk about how depressed she is and how she suffers for her to die. Like, she can't fucking die. He just said that over and over again, and everybody in my friend call is just like cope harder. And then like because even though they don't really know what is happening in Umineko, Dubs was genuinely upset. Like he was just like actually sad like that Angie's gone.
Nice, he's getting into it. That's
Well, if you didn't get
good.
into it into like EP like fucking 4, like what are you doing? Like why are you still
Well, he could be into the mystery aspect, but not as much into the characters.
Yeah, and he like really liked Angie and he was like, damn, they really pulled the heartstring there. And then I was like, yeah, like it's really sad. Like they just like pulled that on you.
And the way she tells Butler not to look back as she's fucking decomposing, that's so sad. Why?
Yeah, and then also that's another thing that Dubs mentioned, because Dubs is like, why does Battler believe that she just turned into Angie Burger? Because like he doesn't see it. Like, you know, if we're gonna treat all of our like mysteries off on the island basically as like, if you don't see it, I don't believe it, like then, you know, he should probably also not believe that she turns into Angie Burger. And then I was like, that's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
But it was writing on high emotions. It was a very, very like turbulent ending to like the main chunk of the story. So it was like, oh yeah, what can you believe? There's craziness going on left and right. He's the grandson, but also not Asumu's son.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine reading this as Umineko was coming out and not knowing there was an EP5.
Oh, I would lose my fucking mind.
So, in regards to the funny Golden Wand thing that happened, what Angie did there was actually such a fucking great move, and I cannot wait to get into it on the spoiler part. But there's also something I want to say about it now, which is to just like kind of give a summary of what actually went on there, because it's actually so sad. Beato is trying to deny Ange's magic, because Ange's like, my magic is better than yours, you can't revive Sakutaro, I can. What Ange is trying to do is trying to kick Beato out of the Golden Wand. So Beato wants to stay in the Golden Wand, she doesn't want to go back to the game, so she's trying to deny Ange's magic. And then Beato fails to finish the red truth that Sakutaro is special and the only one in the world. So, and then Ange's sprite just starts crying blank-faced, and then she says, see? It's magic, right?
That scene is so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
and
they're just all crying because it like Beatrice is also crying.
Yeah,
and then,
everybody's crying.
And like she's also crying, and like you could hear Maria being like, "Oh, this is magic, right? Like this is such splendid magic." And then basically Beatrice has nothing to respond but, "Yes, this is a splendid magic," and she's just like literally dying inside.
It's such a stark contrast between Maria, who's just happy her friend is gonna be back, and Angie, who's feeling the weight of the truth that she's revealing right now, and Beato having the realization that Sakutaro, the last symbol of the love that Rosa could possibly have for Maria, isn't even what they believed it to be. It wasn't even handmade by Rosa, it was just mass-produced, which...
Don't say that.
We can say it now, Mushroom. We agreed on this. This is the...
Also, do you want to know something funny? This is gonna be me bashing on...
Wait, I need to finish my point.
Oh, sorry. Continue, please.
So, the fucking battle that's going on here is that... So, Beato needs to deny Ange's magic. And so, in an effort to stay in her safe place, which is the Golden Wand...
You can keep talking.
No, I wait. Why would I keep talking? This is a point. Well, so allergies, right?
Yeah, am I right? Yep.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's fucking up my life. I think it's getting worse. I hope it's not COVID. I don't think it is.
Are you also dematerializing? Should I not look?
Okay, sorry. So did Des finish his point?
No, I waited for you. Why would I keep making my point?
Because Lorenzo's also here, so I can hear your point.
Yeah, but I want both of you here.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so for the third time,
Sorry.
Beta wants to stay in the Golden Wand, but for her to stay in the Golden Wand, she's doing it at the expense of Maria's happiness. Because for her to stay there, she has to counter Ange's move. But Ange's move will make Maria happy. So now Beato has to choose between her own happiness or Maria's happiness. And if she allows Ange to revive Sakutaro and make Maria happy, she's gonna lose her Golden Wand.
But she also doesn't know that she could possibly revive Sakutaro. That's one of the reasons why she looks so...
No, she realizes, like Beato realizes partway through that the truth about Sakutaro, that he's mass-produced. She realizes that halfway through, that's why she starts fucking crying.
Well, since we're not gonna hide things from people, then I will also say this point. The problem about how Dubs read is that he reads too far apart. Like he basically remembers the thematic things about Umineko, but not the specifics. So he wasn't able to catch on the fact that the whole thing about the Sakutaro and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense, because he probably didn't remember that funny time when Angie was just pointing at something.
Yeah, so another thing that I thought would be easy, would come easy to him that he didn't get, which was he didn't know the porcelain doll thing, which was another thing that he struggled with. The porcelain doll is blah thing. We will get there when we get to the end of the episode, but I was like, damn, those are two things that I thought would be extremely easy for anybody to catch. Or not easy. Easy is not the right word.
I don't remember any porcelain doll, to be
What?
honest. I don't remember any porcelain doll being mentioned in Umineko, to be honest.
The porcelain rabbit doll,
Ah, okay.
which I thought would have been an easy catch, but he also didn't get it, and I was like,
I
damn.
also didn't get it.
It's okay.
The first time.
I didn't get a lot of things first time, especially the. I mean, sorry, oops.
Lol. It's okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about in spoiler section,
No.
non-spoiler section, or do we think we have spoiled enough?
I'm good to go to spoilers.
All right. Well, if you haven't read past this point, get the hell out of here. If you have, stay. We're going to talk about more spoilers. In the meantime, thanks a lot for listening. Cats True Crime. See you later. Bye.
See ya.
Okay, now for the big boy talk. Yeah, that mansion. Did not know it wasn't there this whole time. Dumb and stupid.
I mean, but you weren't even supposed to know that. You were either supposed to, figure that out while you're reading, or know that once you get to EP6.
Right. I found out about it because of the, I think Erica's.
Yes, Erica's thing says, she died in the explosion of Lokenjima, and you're like, what the fuck? No, that.
Exactly, yeah.
That line, fuck people.
Yeah, and that cliff that Ange is on, I like to believe that's actually where the mansion was, so that the parallel, the border between the past and present.
Yes,
makes even more sense.
Yeah, that's also my guess. That's my personal guess. Is I think that's where the cliff is. Like, it's kind of like the Your Name thing, where you walk up to the cliff and you're like, whoa, look in there, and that's the same idea. That's what I get from the vibe.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think there was a Tokyo Metropolis sign there? Was that just after the explosion and after the police went there, they just put that there so that nobody would go to the fucking cliff?
Well, it's because I imagine because it's a big crime scene, and B, it, technically speaking, used to belong to it should belong to Tokyo, that I imagine after the whole case, Eva might have lost it to just basically gave it back to the Tokyo police, not Tokyo police, but Tokyo government and stuff. And then it's also because it's still a crime scene. It's a private property plus crime scene. No matter if it's a private property, which it might be the private property of Rokenjima, but I don't even think at that time it would be a private property anymore, because at that point Eva's dead, and clearly Angie didn't have exclusive right to go on to the island. It wasn't oh, you get to go because you are the Rokenjima people. I imagine after the whole explosion, they were just fuck, this used to be a huge military base, and it had shitloads of fucking explosive on it. That's not good. What if there's so explosives on it? And then they probably got taken back.
Oh my, that actually makes so much sense, because I was wondering, Eva has all this money, she could just hire people to go excavate the island and find the corpses of at least her son and husband so that she could bury it. But if the metropolis knows that island's full of explosions, then they wouldn't allow such a thing to happen.
There's no way they could have possibly found a bunch of bodies because everybody got exploded. Like, you know, like.
Well, they don't know that.
Yes, they do, because it's like a huge explosion. There was a crater in the fucking island.
Okay, I guess you sold it to me.
You know, like, if you think about it, if you walked up, if you saw a fucking, you went on an island and you're like, wow, there's a hole in there. Like, there isn't even a mansion anymore. Like, how would you possibly think people being like, ah, yes, if we go into the deep depths of that hole, maybe you can find like a person's arm or something.
Well, they found Maria's jaw in EP1.
Well, yeah, but we already established that I think half of the things in the
It's
EP1,
not true. Yeah.
it's not true anyway. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, you didn't call it the 18-person murder anyway. But my point is like, I think what happened is that they basically, you know, this explosion happened, and the Tokyo government, like the Japanese government, is like, well, that's pretty fucking fucked, because, you know, we now have this gigantic island who, you know, it used to be a military base bought by this like a weirdo like rich dude like 40 years from us, maybe 50 years at this point. And then, you know, now we can use this case to buy the like basically seize this land back from the Ushinomiyas, and like, because it's a military base, maybe they're so like explosive, it's like for that reasons you can, like, you know, claim it's for like, you know, safety reasons. And that's probably why they didn't want people to go on, because, you know, you can't, even in America, you can't really just go on to abandoned Air Force base. But yeah, so that's my personal thoughts about that, because I actually always had a question about it, because I was like, why doesn't Ange just like, isn't this their island? Like, why does she need to like go through such a rigmarole to go? Like, and I was like, oh, it's probably because it's not their island anymore.
Ah, makes sense. True. Okay, so tell me your thoughts about why do you say... Okay, this is the part where we'll insert the conversation we had that shouldn't have happened on the spoiler part. Mm-hmm. This whole segment, if I did not know Umineko was 8 episodes long, I would think this was the end game. Because it just feels like the end game. You got the game between Batoru and Beato ended in a weird way, but it kinda ended. And even when you read the Tea Party, it feels like it's actually gonna end there. And Ange's journey is basically ends here. Even if you read the answer arcs, Ange has reached the final stage of her character. In this point in time, Ange is a concluded character by EP4. Kinda, yeah. She's still missing that final push, but she's pretty much completed. So EP4 really has final boss energy on this part. I was feeling it. Like, Ange fights Kasumi, and then she fights Eva, who is actually like literally the final boss. She's fighting the person she hates the most. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it was intentional, but Ryukishi actually produced an endgame halfway through the story.
Oh no, I feel like it's 100% like 100% intentional. It's like the same feeling that you get when you're reading the 6th episode of Higurashi, not spoiler, but you're just like, wowee, this is going great, everything is going great, how could it possibly get fucked up? Oh no, it got fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the same feeling. That's like, that's how I would compare it to.
Yeah. And now that that's concluded, Mushroom, tell me why you say you disagree with the notion that Ange is pretty much a concluded character by EP4.
Well, okay, there's actually a few thoughts. So the first thing is like, Ange basically says all the stuff about like, oh, I accept you, like, I like...
Ange has understood the meaning and the nature of magic. She has acknowledged Maria and Maria's coping mechanisms as valid and understandable for what she went through. She has understood how to apply it to her own life. How is she not pretty much EP8 Ange, except her speaking with Eva in the meta world and telling her, hey, I don't hold it against you?
I don't know. I feel like the problem is that I know for sure she is not there yet, but I cannot articulate it to you because I don't remember EP8 as top of my head. I feel like there is some difference between EP8 Ange and EP4 Ange right here. And like, it has a lot to do with the fact that like, she can begin to forgive people, and all of that could happen, but like she's not there completely, if that makes any sense, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I do think like all of the seeds are sowed there. And another thing I thought was interesting is that, like, okay, this is something that that Dubs caught that I didn't actually catch when I was reading it, or near when I was rereading it. The Eva who shows up on the cliff to confront the when
yes. Yeah. I do have a big thought about that.
And the Eva says, "Hey, cool to know you for these few days. You were a lot of fun."
Yes. Tell me, Mushroom. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So
it is.
Yeah, of course it is
Amakusa. Yes, I knew it.
Yes.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, so the whole Amakusa thing is really interesting because, like, Dubs is now just annoyed, and Dubs is like, I don't understand what's the not like what's the point of that, but he doesn't really know, like, why would he kill her? Like, but like it also makes a lot of sense because one of the things that he reasoned out is he's like, oh, the reason why he shows up as Eva is because he's like the last agent for Eva, in a way, like the dying word of a horrible woman who's here to kill me.
Well, the last agent would be Okonogi.
Well, yes, but like Okonogi is still the person who's telling Amakusa to kill her. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I personally interpret it as I just accepted it as a disparity between the meta narrative and the IRL narrative.
That's also true.
Because like Eva is there, like she sees Eva because that's the end of Ange's journey, and it's only natural Eva would be the final boss, because that's where it all began. Mm-hmm. And then in real life, it's Amakusa for other reasons that I will get into.
Yeah, I mean, I think like everybody agrees that like Amakusa's killing her because funny Okonogi man told him to.
I think that's actually the whole plan, was actually to also lure the Somaderas into the island, to kill all of them there, kill the competition, and the person keeping the company from actually having all the money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is 100% a like, let's get them on a remoted island so we can just snipe everybody.
Yeah, but this is also something I only realized because I read this part like 2 months ago when we were supposed to record this episode. Then I reread it just today. And I just realized this fucking concludes the whole discourse about whether, like, about the trick ending where like, was Ange being paranoid, or did Amakusa actually mean to kill her?
No, Amakusa meant to kill her.
Yeah, this is the answer. I thought it was an open answer, an open question. I guess it is not. We have the answer here. He wanted to kill her.
Well, he does want to kill her, but like, it really depends on how, like, that's what I mean by how much love do you approach it. Like, as in, like, one of the things I think determines the difference between Angie's life, like life or death, or if she gets to live or not, comes from her attitude of life and how she would have taken it. Because the idea is that, like, if Angie decided to, step down, not fuck around and just give all the shit to Okonogi, and then decided not to just like basically let the company rot without her even possibly doing anything, but also not doing anything to help it, nor giving her power away, her power as in like financial power. Like, that's one of the reasons why Okonogi will kill her, basically, it's like to get rid of her so like he can have more control over her assets and stuff. But like, if Angie was just like going to hand over everything peacefully, and decided to cooperate, like, that's one of the reasons why she doesn't die in the end of the, technically speaking, the real story, because she just decides to forfeit all this stuff and was like, what, take everything, I don't really care, I don't even want the little like the Ushiromiya name anymore, like, it's fine, like, you could just take everything. And I think like the whole journey is just Amakusa is just the person who spies on her to see like which of those paths is she gonna take. Like, is she gonna be super reckless, like fuck around and then kill herself in the end of this, or is she going to like actually be mildly responsive and like decide that like, oh, there's other people, even if she doesn't care, that maybe other people cared, and blah blah blah. It's super clear to me now as a reader to say like, oh, the reason why everybody dies is because Amakusa uses his cool gun power to gun everybody down, because that's how guns work.
Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. So just to explain in case somebody didn't get it, when Ange is fighting all of these servants and Kasumi, when the stakes are killing the dude, it's actually Amakusa from the distance. And then when everybody is dead and only Ange remains, Amakusa comes in, and the reason the magic, all of that magic toxin is there, and the reason Ange cannot summon the stakes is because it was Amakusa who was shooting down the people. So if Amakusa is the one confronting Ange now, he's not gonna kill himself. Right? That we agree on that interpretation?
Yes.
So that's why Ange can't use the stakes.
Yes.
But now I would like to propose to you a different interpretation of the segment after that, Mushroom. So I really don't like the idea that Amakusa was actually out for blood on Ange.
I know.
Because that would defeat the point of the trick ending. Because the trick ending, from my point of view, is supposed to be the bad ending where Ange didn't learn anything from her journey. And then...
Well, yes. Okay, so that's what I mean by I think Amakusa is a person to test her. Like, as in, like, I don't think Amakusa wants to kill Ange or, like, don't want to kill her. Like, in the way that, like, in the sense of, like, he's just the person who who is the person who executed. Like, I imagine he had a great time hanging out with Ange. Like, in a way that, like, is like, oh, you know, like... weirdo Jo-sama, like, I'm having a good time, you know, hanging out with her, she's fucking weird type of bullshit.
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
But like what I'm trying to say about that is that, like, I think, like, to him, you know, if he could have not killed her, he wouldn't. Honestly speaking, that's one of the reasons why I feel like I don't really know how I feel about the EP4 ending, because, like, in a way it is true that you say, like, Ange is really close to her EPA version of herself, but she doesn't have it all there yet. But she is really close. But why does Amakusa kill her? What's that about? So, like, few interpretations I have. Ange just accidentally falls off the cliff anyway, and then she just dies. But that doesn't make any sense because, like, or like, does she just get caught in the fire? Like, she still gets shot somehow? Like, because, like, why did Amakusa kill her? Like, I understand why, but, like, in the EP4 setting, like, is it because, like, in Amakusa's eyes, she failed the test of, like, living, and then he was like, oh, well, I guess I'll kill everybody else and then her.
Okay.
That's what I'm like, kind of,
I'm gonna tell you my really spicy idea of the events. So, Amakusa being the fuckboy he is, as you said, he's like, Hojo-sama, you're so quirky and, like, unpredictable. I like your style. You're so cool. So he plays Mzaki and he goes there and he goes to meet with Ange, who's just in a pool of blood of the people who meant to kill her. And then he is pointing a gun at Ange. And then Ange picks up one of the guns that was left on the ground. And then, because it's a stake that hits Amakusa's gun, so, like...
Oh, so you think she actually successfully shot him, like, in...
No. I think Amakusa just, like... He is pointing a gun at Ange just as a coin flip, because he does say he likes to live on the edge. So, just like a coin flip. If she shoots me, I'm dead. If she doesn't, I'm just gonna throw my gun away and say, whoops, my gun exploded. Guess I can't kill you now. What if we go on an adventure? You know what I mean? And then... The gunshot you hear at the end, it's like Ange metaphorically killing herself, because she's not gonna be Ange Ushiromi anymore. She's gonna be...
Oh, okay, that's actually a way smarter decision to say. You could just, yeah. Honestly speaking, the EP4 roll credits, you could have just treated that exactly as the same roll credits as the as the EPA roll credits, which is that, like, oh, Ange died because she chose her own death.
Like, that's why I say she is episode 8 Ange. I don't understand what you think Ange is missing. She's got everything.
Well, but the point is that EP8 Ange still exists. There's a whole reason why EP8 exists. Why the fuck
she exists metaphorically? She exists in the meta world.
Like, yeah, everything. Well, technically speaking, all the episodes exist metaphorically.
But we've gone through this. Like, when Ange comes back to life in EP6, that's a callback to before going the island, when she met with Ikuko and had to bring up her old name to get in contact with Ikuko. So in a way, Ange Shiromi revived.
This is very crack. Not like crack in a bad way. I just think it's...
This is Umineko.
This is Umineko.
But, like, you like my interpretation of how Amakusa was just in his fuckboy being like, coin flip, she didn't shoot me, Fun.
I don't know how much I agree with it. I think it's an interesting idea. So we all know that Amakusa was closely monitoring Ange this whole time and reporting it back to Okonogi. And I guess like if he did kill her, it was because he deemed that she wasn't like, very savable in that sense. And if he didn't kill her, it was because, he deemed her savable in that sense. And I just like don't really know.
What do you mean savable? Savable in the eyes of Okonogi as like someone that I can keep alive because I can control?
Yeah, or savable in the way that like, like that like, oh, she would have been a good asset to me and like it wouldn't had caused me trouble, or unsavable being like, now we gotta kill her because she's a fucking liability and she's been just running around with like being dangerous.
Okay, but then do you agree with the sense that at the end Amakusa just decided to drop that behind and just go live his wild life with Ange just because he found Ange to be an interesting person?
I mean, that could be true. Like I mean, like it is true in the EP. It's true in the EP8 setting. I'm just like really trying to like break my brain to think like how does that apply in like the EP4 setting, because the EP
in
like,
the EP4 setting, like Amakusa.
Yes.
Amakusa has, when they were going to the island, Amakusa said that like when you're living in a setting where you can be dead just the next minute, you learn to just appreciate what you're living in the moment. So I think he's a very whimsical guy. He was just feeling like it, so he went with it.
I guess so. Yeah. We'll be able to revisit the whole EP4 confrontation when we get to EP8. And I feel like at that time I would have a more concrete idea what makes the two Anges different. Or maybe there's no difference and Ryukishi just wrote EP8, like wrote like Ange's development
twice. No, it's not twice. In EP6 he goes back for a minute, and then in EP8 he writes the conclusion again, I would say. But Lorenzo, what do you think?
Sorry, I had a lot of IRL stuff going on in the past like 20 minutes.
Oh damn.
But no, it's nothing serious. It's just I'm dog sitting and it's a freaking needy ass dog. Anyways, I heard some of your insights. Very interesting. Which parts have we already covered?
We're just covering. Oh, so do you remember Ange versus Eva at the very end of the scene?
Yes.
Did you hear us saying what the real life counterpart to that was?
Half of it.
So can you tell us who it is?
Who Eva is, or like
yes,
what Ange?
Who Eva is?
Who the Eva is?
Okay, so you don't know. Okay, so this is where we tell you. Drumroll.
Oh my god.
That was actually Amakusa, Lorenzo.
Oh. She killed him?
You wanna know why?
Why?
Because remember when the Seven Sisters of Purgatory were just killing everyone?
Right.
That was Amakusa sniping them.
Yeah, he was picking off, sniping everybody, right?
And then do you know how when Eva, full-grown Eva, appears before Ange, and there's this whole magic toxin around, and she cannot summon the Seven Sisters? Mm-hmm. That's because that's Amakusa right there. He's not gonna shoot himself.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. He has the gun. That's the actual magic. Okay. Yeah, I get that. That's a pretty good insight. Thanks for sharing and pointing it out.
Really interesting. I don't know how I missed it until my third read-through of the scene. It's really interesting. Well, fuck, I keep being surprised by how well hidden things are sometimes.
Yeah, it is very fun that way.
I could see it being shot really well in a movie. Like, there's like all that magic stuff going on, and then there's like a cut between Angie's perspective and Amakusa showing up and replacing Eva, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like it's more hidden because you're reading a 1,000-page book and then it just doesn't even explain it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have 2 paragraphs about Eva Beato and Ange.
Go for it.
So the first one just says, the term Black Witch for Maria really is just what she calls this entity that she believes exists. But for Ange, the Black Witch is a metaphor for this side of people that comes out when they are in despair. And even though the meaning of Black Witch means a different thing to Ange, this compartmentalization allows her to see beyond the pain that she's suffering and understand the person that's hurting her. And it's interesting how she took a term that really was just a fictional character and was able to have meaningful growth from that.
Yeah. It is really impressive to think that, Maria just really created like all these ideas. And I mean, like, I mean, she's a child then, but like, if she was old enough that she could have understood why she had made up these thoughts, maybe they would actually been helpful enough to her, because Ange does come to that realization of like how all these ideas are constructed and how she can forgive and to see the people they are, instead of not only imagine them as the world's worst monster, but also a person that's pitiful and like has a reason to be a horrible person, but still don't forgive them. I think all of that is like very poignant.
Yeah, it's Angie really comes to respect Maria. It is true that it is at the end of the day it is just a fantasy that Mario was creating. But Angie, all her suffering comes from the cycle of abuse, and even though Maria's fantasies seem silly, they actually work as
like a coping mechanism,
an answer to the problem of the cycle of abuse. She really comes to respect Maria, and then seeing Kasumi just trampling all over it really feels. It really feels.
It really feels true. I mean, it's sad. It's a fucking shit scene because Kasumi, like, yeah.
Oh, speaking of shit, she asks Kasumi if she dropped the log behind the tree. That was really.
Oh yeah, I mean, she has really funny lines in this. I mean, Angie's just great. But let's talk about the scene of Angie Burger.
Angie Burger. No, wait, I wanted to ask you something.
Yes.
Still in regards to this scene. So, tell me, why do you think Eva Beato appears alongside Kasumi?
Well, I mean, I think Ange, like, in Maria's mind, like, her mother is is like the same thing as like a black witch, so that comes up. So I think like in Ange's mind, all people who are bullies to her in that way also echoes the voices of her like dead aunt to her, like things like, oh, you don't deserve any of this, like, you should fucking die, like you are just a hindrance, blah blah blah. Like all these things are like things that like was repeated by her like aunt. And I think like that's where she hears a lot of these things, and she thinks about all of that. And that's also why I think I say Amakusa is like a representation of Eva's power, because even though that's not true, but like Eva, in a way, Eva Beatrice especially, symbolize like greed, these like kind of like uncontrollable greediness of you will kill people for it, you will take everything, you do not care. And like in a way, like Okonoki killing like Ange, that's greed. That is no different from the greed that makes Eva fictionally kill all her family.
Okay. Okay, I reached a different answer actually.
Okay.
The way I looked at it was because Eva Beto appears as the product of Angie trying to see beyond the circumstances that led to both Kasumi and Eva being mean to her, basically. So I think in the process, she, just like Maria before her, was able to compartmentalize the two people, compartmentalize her feelings towards these people by actually separating the person and the circumstance. So
100%, I agree with that.
In order to see Eva with love, basically, all the things that led to Eva being mean, she gave all of those things to Eva Beato. So basically, Eva Beato, right now at this point of the story, she's no longer just the result of Eva's situation. She also just represents the cycle of abuse. And that is why she appears alongside Kasumi. Because that's the whole thing with Kasumi too. People were bad to her, so now she's being bad to Angie. And that would also be why Eva Beato sides with Bern Castell in EP8. Because Bern was hurt in Higurashi and she's doing the same thing to Angie.
That's an interesting way to see it. We do have to eventually talk about why does everybody side with everybody in EPA, because I think that does say a lot about how like all the scenes are built. But that's a really interesting thing you brought up. I don't know if I would have thought it that way.
Yeah, thanks. I thought the Eva Beato being there in EP8 was just like a boss rush, but now it actually has some meaning.
I don't necessarily agree with the idea of compartmentalizing the bad parts of a person. So this is not really connected to everything else, but I think like when you basically accept a person's bad part about them, I think instead of seeing them as two separate entities of the good parts and bad parts about them, it is about like holistically accepting like, oh, like this is a person, like this is Rosa, she has good parts, she has bad parts, and you know, maybe like, and like understanding the fact that like when she does her bad things, it's because, you know, she lashed out, but also understanding like to basically see herself as a whole. And I think that's actually a thing I wanted to bring up, that I think when Ange saw like Eva Beatrice in EP8, this is me saying my very not remembering EP8 knowledge, the EP8 version of her is telling her to be like, don't worry, hate everything about me, like you are free to hate, you could push all your bad feelings onto me. And it represents the idea of like that kind of blind hatred and not understanding, and like that one person can't do. It's to decide like, oh, you know, I will just not fight anything, like I will just hate like blindly of this like one person. Like I could just like put them on a pedestal, or like, you know, completely demonizes them. And for basically Ange to see not only Eva Beatrice but also Eva, I feel like it means that she probably didn't fully, you know, accepted her aunt as like a full person yet. Like even though she this is another thing I wanted to say. I think to me the difference between Ange in EP4 and Ange in EP8 is this specific thing is Ange in EP4 understands from like factually, not only factually but logically speaking, she should forgive Eva, and she should maybe forgive herself and maybe, you know, move on with her life. But she doesn't do any of that. You know the feeling when you basically understand something, you understand something logically but you don't understand it emotionally.
Yeah.
Like Ange in EP4 is not emotionally ready to stop hating, nor she's emotionally ready to move on with her life yet.
I think at this at the very end she is, but
I mean, maybe she is, but I don't think she has enough resolve or enough of she hasn't reached out enough in her life to like have people to, not only she had to basically have the resolve to, you know, move on by herself, she also should have, you know, not should have, but she should also go, you know, reach out to the people around her, which was Amakusa and Okonogi, to be like, this is now like, now I am ready to move on or something. Like those two things might need to simultaneously exist. And I don't know, I find that whole conversation very interesting because it is very true, because I find Angie's journey is just very interestingly weird. Like, how would you write a fictional character like this, Ryukishi?
Yeah, it is such a complex character, Ange. And you only realize how complex she is on a reread, because you don't catch on these hints on the first read through.
No, not at all.
I also really like this. You say it's boring as balls, Mushroom, but I really like the rap battle because it's so Umineko. You have the fantasy plane and the reality plane happening at the same time so coherently. I'll give you two examples. First is the whole Amakusa thing that we've already discussed, and the other is how both Eva Beato and Kasumi are reading the diary, but Kasumi is interpreting it as written by Ange, and Eva Beato knows it's written by Maria, and they are both insulting Ange about the diary, but both of them with different understandings, and yet they are on the same side, and it feels like they are in tune, even though they're talking about different things. Mm-hmm. And both of these narratives are happening at the same time. And it's so Umineko. I don't know how you find it boring.
I know, I do. I like it a lot. Like, I conceptually speaking like it, but I think the execution comes off really slow. You just came off from the scene of, you know, Beatrice denying Battler, and, you know, you really want to get back to knowing what that's about, and then immediately you now just get dragged back to read about Angie, and, you know, you're fine. Usually, like, I know I don't really care about reading Angie scenes, but it kind of grinds, like, it's the scene is a little bit too slow. It kind of grinds it to a halt of the momentum. And then the scene after that is really good, because then it just like, you know, Angie goes and confront Beatrice in the Golden Land, and she's just like, your toys mass produced. Yeah, I'm so mad that like Dubs haven't figured that out yet. Also, I was gonna say, like, I've asked Dubs a lot about what he thinks about the whole truth about the how did Sakutaro show up and stuff like that. And I'm gonna just say like what his thoughts is, and his current theory is that he think has something to do with parallel universes in a way.
What?
That like, yes, I don't worry, I know, it's funny because he says Mushroom likes to make fun of me every time I mention like, oh, is it possible that like she brought a different version, like the same Sakutaro from a different world over, and like I can't tell if she's making fun of me because my ideas is stupid, or she's making fun of me because like that she's not gonna tell me if it's right or wrong. And I was like, your idea sucks. Go back to the drawing board and trying to figure out what else could it possibly be. But
I can't believe Dubs has such cool ideas about the most complicated things, and then he misses the most in your face.
Oh no, 100%. He has like, I have to say this for now. That's one of the reasons why I'm telling Dubs to go back and reread EP4, reread all his notes, is that Dubs have really, really good ideas about the thematic point of Umineko, like the heart of Umineko, but incredibly bad at like coming up with theories. Like he basically like theories of murder. Like he literally like didn't understand that EP3 is done by like Eva until I told him that. I was like, wait, why are you doubting the fact that it's about Eva? It's like it's said in Red Truth. If you don't even believe in Red Truth, what else are you gonna believe? And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, think about this. Like I was like, the game already told you, and it's like now you can back solve all the murder. But he doesn't even think like that deeply about like the trick of it, because like the whole point is to like think about like how could it possibly be done. But I was just like, I get like so annoyed with him sometimes, and I was like, you're not thinking hard enough. like I mean, like I'm glad that he's really like he's very good with the themes but not very good with the tricks, if that makes any sense. So he's currently hitting like a wall of how he's gonna be like interpreting, because like for example, like another thing he's really bad, like another thing he was struggling is recontextualizing the fact that the red truth that will be given to him. We'll see. We'll get there.
We will get there.
We'll.
Eventually.
It's annoying that he hasn't figured it out, because I can't say anything. Like,
yeah.
And like, I like his idea of like being like, oh, it's like multiple worlds, but I'm like, I was like, how much has Umineko proved to you multiple worlds existed? And he was like, well, there's fragments. And I was like, well, dot, 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 dot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, you can't really explain how right or wrong his opinions are unless you want to explain it,
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying my best to basically tell him to be like, just go read your notes. Like, read your fucking notes and you will be able to know what, like, you were trying to say. But before that, you'll just not know. And it would just be extremely annoying for me to hear you say stupid theories.
Yeah, it must be really hard going with someone through Umineko.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's very fun. For example, on another note, the Two Careers Play people are currently playing EP6 of Umineko, and they're doing great. They're basically almost at the point to start merging Chicanon-tris and canon is trans theory.
Ah, nice.
So they're really getting there, and it's really funny because I was like, I had this conversation on the other server with Lurf and stuff, and we were just talking about like, honestly speaking, like trans people have a better time reading Umineko than any cishet person can, because you immediately start like being like, like it's like the whole joke of like, oh, every character I read is trans unless I decided not to, but like you start picking up the fact that like that furniture might be a queer narrative. And then if you start looking through that lens, then you can actually understand lots of part about Umineko better. Like, because, for example, Dubs currently think like the whole furniture narrative is about money, which, it is about money.
Makes sense.
But like, because he is a little like, basically like Dubs has this problem where basically if he decided on one thing, he just think it's that one thing, and that's that.
He gets tunnel vision.
Yes. So like for example, he decided that the Winchester guns are just the Winchester guns are Chesters, and that's it, without thinking that, oh, like our Chesters are representation of something.
That is a horrible. thing to like getting tunnel vision in Umineko is actually horrible because Ryukishi is actually great at misdirecting you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like actually the best thing you can do when trying to solve Umineko is to never get too comfortable with an answer.
Never commit. Never commit
commit,
to any
yeah.
answer. Like, yeah, never commit to any answer, continuously wildly guessing until, like, for example, like, that's one of the reasons why I thought the episode we did with Two Queers Play was so fun, because both of them had a wildly different, like, theories, but also converged on some parts. Like, I believe, like, Vivian believed, like, or SK really thought, like, Kumazawa's is suspicious, but, like, Vivian's the person who believed like Shikan interests, and I was like, and also like, you know, SK believes canon is trans theory, and like combining all those theories, you can make a like that's the real theory.
True. With Kumasawa, yeah, I wasn't sure how Kumasawa would fit in, but yeah, I'm fucking yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? And like, I don't know, I just think like right now, like Dubs is getting just like too in the weeds of like trying to think of the specifics without like actually remembering the big picture of like what he needs to do. And like, and that just like makes me annoyed. But I'm also understand, like he's busy with his like IRL things. So I'm not gonna like constantly being like, hello, my dude, redo me Neko. Which is really funny because this has became like a joke between like people who know me, is that I'm just like, and like the honey, wake up! It's your like government mandated Umineko time.
Yeah. Go read Umineko for my own pleasure.
Yeah, but it's honestly pretty tough about like, especially Umineko's not an easy narrative to read. Like that's another thing. Like it's not at all easy. Like you don't fucking get it. Like.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ryukishi. Because I remember when I was going through Umineko, I wouldn't want to continue to the next scene until I had somewhat understood the previous scene, and that really kept me from advancing faster.
Oh, I totally understand that. It's really sad because, like, you know, I read Umineko, like, fucking 10 years ago, and now I'm just mad because, you know, I was such a baby child, and, like, you know, I was just like, oh, blah, 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 fun scenes, and, like, I really kind of wish I had the rigorous brain damage that I currently have, if that makes any sense. Like, I wish I was just, like, completely brain broken enough to just, you know, try again and again and again and again just to figure out specific scenes.
Yeah, but well, at least now you have many years of Umineko knowledge to be able to have conversations like this.
Yeah,
not everything is bad.
It's fun. I think, okay, what else during the Ange burger scene that I wanted to mention?
I have a lot of thoughts, Mushroom.
Okay, what's your lots of thoughts? Please give.
Basically, I have a lot of scenes that I just want to explain why it happened. For example, Ange pretty much reached her goal. She has become fulfilled and all of that. She understands that even if she saves Butler will not come for her. So why does she still meet up with Bern and still fulfill her role as a card that Bern has in her sleeve? Why does she still do that? And I think that's just because Ange, even though she realizes she was being deceived by Bern, she's still thankful that she at least got to meet with Butler in the meta world. So that's her paying Bern for the opportunity, even if nothing comes out of it. You agree? That's
a pretty good way to see it. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. You want to say one of your thoughts now, and we like jump between me and you?
Ange burger. I think like Beatrice really laying on thick about the whole like, you should hate me, Ange burger, hate me.
Does she do that? I don't remember.
She does. She like keeps being like, and Balor's like, stop talking about my sister like that, and he's like, Ange burger.
Her eye fell off just now. Really cool. Should have seen it. Should have seen her face.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty funny. Oh, Balor. Yeah, it's like kind of like that. I think the whole scene is really good. I honestly speaking don't have like 100% like need. It's just a very like, it has such good vibes. Like the music is really good. It makes you really feel pumped, and you know you're really mad, and you're just like, no, Ange, I can't believe I read so much of your story in one EP and now you're dead. That's literally what I was. Okay. If I had to be happy about anything, is like Dub's reaction to the end of EP4 was priceless. Like he was just so mad.
I'm glad that he lived EP4 that way.
Yeah, like just vicariously.
But I do think the scene went on for a bit too long. I know that's weird coming from me, but I think the impact was kind of lessened.
The Angie burger scene.
Yes.
I'm glad that we both have one scene that we were like, that was not good. I think it went on too long.
It went for a bit too long because at a point I was just like, I get it. Just keep going. The song has already looped.
I know.
I'm getting kind of tired of the song.
That's actually really annoying because, you know, I watch Dubs play this, and then Dubs play really slow and he reads really slow. So I could sit here and fucking listen to goddamn like the pieces over and over and over again, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die.
Yeah. I guess that's one thing you can't get past with visual novels.
Reading, am I right?
Reading, exactly.
I have to say really quick, I might have to like leave pretty soon. So I could you guys can keep talking. I can like do my sign off and then just peace out.
Warm it in somewhere.
Yeah. How's that sound?
That's
Good?
fine.
Cool, keep talking.
Okay.
Okay. So another thing I wanted to explain. I started talking about it in the spoiler-free section. Now I want to talk about the spoilery part about it. So Ange's plan to take down the Golden Wand. So Beato says there's nothing a witch cannot do. I don't think she says it in this specific scene, but I'm pretty sure she says it somewhere else. And then Ange is proposing to do something that Beato cannot, which is revive Sakutaro. Essentially denying Beato's status as a witch, which would shake the basis in which the Golden Wand stands, which is, yo, this is a plane for witches to exist in, and I just denied your status as a witch, Beato. Also, Maria's belief in you may be wavering a bit, because I just did magic that you did not.
Yeah, you cannot do, yeah.
So now the Golden Wand is falling apart, and you're gonna have to leave it. Get out of your room, Beato. There's a game to finish. So I think that was what happened there. Like, that's the mechanics.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think, like, I mean, that part is just very interesting in general because, like, of course, like, to Beatrice, she doesn't know that there's more of the Sakuraros. I think we have argued about this many times beforehand, but I think, like, at this point, from the way how she speaks about it, like, she doesn't know. Like, she definitely believes that there's only one Sakuraro, and that's why, you know, she feels very boldly that she gets to just proclaim that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then she gets proved wrong, and, you know, just, you know, get bitch slapped by Ange. And I think, like, this whole scene is just, like, fascinating in the way, like, how, like, Beatrice is just feeling true anguish. Like, you know, this is, like, also the scene where, you know, the most famous, one of my favorite lines of Umineko comes up, which is, it takes two people to create a universe.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up, because then Angie says, yes, that's the proof you aren't a real witch. A real witch can create a universe alone, which just comes back to the topic we discussed like 2 episodes ago of the self-satisfaction that Maria does kind of need Mariage Sorcière, but Maria is self-satisfied, while Beato is not. Beato does need this.
Yes, yeah. Maria, like it's, in this kind of case, it's truly the type of thing where Beatrice needs it more than Maria.
Yeah, because Beato really needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to say is that I'm gonna read you some things that Dubs wrote for the universe thing. So he says this: 2 people who creates a universe. So in a way, he thinks 2 people creates a universe is like an author and a reader. If the author stops writing or the reader stops reading, either of those would make the universe stops. Like, and I was like, wow. I was literally in my brain. I was like, wow, you have hit the EP6 narrative. Congratulations.
Yeah, and 5 too.
Yeah.
Because there's that scene in 5 where we cannot proceed with the game unless we admit we are in love. That's EP5.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That scene's so good. Yeah, because this is another thing. So he wrote 3 thoughts. He says, 2 humans take to make a universe, because it says, because of the fact that Umineko keeps using the word giving birth to a universe, he says, it takes 2 humans to make a child, and a child is a universe, because one life is like a universe. And then he says, then if it takes 2 humans to make a universe, it only takes 1 witch to make a universe. And then it's like, oh, is that why Beatrice is not a true witch? And I was like, that's a very interesting way to think about it. It's
because Angie just shows up with Sakutaro. It's just Sakutaro. It's impossible not to get acknowledgement. That is Sakutaro right there. Everything about Beato needs to be acknowledged. She cannot exist unless someone acknowledges her. And it's kind of sad because it's just like it just goes back to Sayo and everything in her life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting to talk about this because, you know, I've been talking to a lot of people on the ADPR episode, like ADPR Discord, and we talk a lot about this in general. And, you know, it's kind of crazy that Yukishi wrote a narrative about, you know, being gay or being queer or general, but like that maybe he doesn't even know the implication of how like close he wrote it. For example, like he wrote Beatrice, like in EP6, chick Beatrice as a chick. Like he describes her as an egg. Like you understand? Like like that is the most trans like thing to say. Like as in like, oh, she's an egg. Like that is so funny because like I don't think he even like of course like that's a thing that doesn't really exist in Japanese, that it exists in English. But I literally like read it and I was like, my dude. Like literally nothing went on through your brain, but like my brain is fucking firing off like crazy. And like also like the whole idea of like validation, like about like how Beatrice is looking for validation, and like it's about getting like it's about being valid, like, you know, like the whole like being queer and especially being trans is like the whole narrative is about like validity and like do you like are you valid as a person, and like are you being seen as valid, and like how could you become more valid in the eyes of the people, and like, you know, the people who judge you mercilessly. And I'm like, Ryukishi, what kind of crack were you smoking? Like like it's kind of crazy that he just wrote this without like, you know, really, you know, being in the weeds or anything. Like, how did he do this?
It's I think, okay, judging from other works, I think Ryukishi wasn't intentionally trying to do it, but kind of was.
No, I don't think so.
What I mean by was kind of trying to do it, but also kind of by accident, is that maybe he was just thinking, how would someone in this position feel, instead of actually knowing someone in that position and writing how they feel.
Yeah, I think I read this really cool Umineko Reddit post about like, why do you think Yukishi is good at writing queer people? Like, and the thing is, like, you know, like depends on how Yukishi writes and what kind of Yukishi person is, or if he actually has queer friends or not. Like, he writes them really realistically, and I feel like that doesn't really, I don't even know if that comes from the fact that he personally has these conversations with people or personally have friends, but it comes from his understanding of a person and what, like, if this person has these type of struggles, what kind of struggles will they have, and what kind of problems. And it doesn't come from the fact that he actually has like people in his life that he knows to like be like, hello, let me ask you, like, how do you feel? Like, and I think that's that's such a fascinating way of approaching stories.
Obviously, not to psychoanalyze Ryukishi, but judging, like, we can just pick up with Umineko. So Umineko, even the chapter we just covered, is all about understanding other people. So I just think Ryukishi is really good at being empathetic and like understanding other people, but he needs to really sit down and think about it. Otherwise, he just comes out with Go or Higambana. So like when he tries, he's really good at thinking how would someone in this position feel and writing about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of Umineko, is understanding someone.
Yeah, Umineko is so okay. Honestly speaking, I think I said this many times, but like, to me, Umineko is so good. It feels like it's fake. Like, how could a possibly?
Yeah. Like, you ever just lay down at night and think, how?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like just deep confusion. Like, how did you do this, Ryukishi? Like, no way you fucking wrote this. Like, how the fuck did this happen?
I know. I can't even put into words. I am rereading this story and I cannot even believe it exists.
Yeah, I think it's so impressive. But yeah, I think, how long have we recorded for? Almost 2 hours now.
Okay. Do you still have any thoughts? I do.
Go for it, Des.
Okay. So, there's this red truth that Beato says, that is, this is the golden wand. a world where magic that isn't mine certainly cannot exist. So then how is Ange able to use magic in the Golden Wand? And I would say this is because the nature of the magic Ange is using is exactly the same as Beto. The seed, if you wanna call it that.
Well, I was gonna say the reason why that is how it is because what Ange used wasn't magic. Like, you know,
It was a straight up deception. Okay.
like she like well, it's not even like she like it wasn't like yeah, exactly, it wasn't magic in a way that like, oh, you know, she used a trick.
This is really confusing, and that's exactly why it canceled the Golden One. It's because, is this magic or is this not? Well, if this isn't magic, then Beato isn't using magic either, because it's the same thing, and that would collapse Beato as a witch, collapsing the Golden Wand. But if Beato wants to acknowledge Ange's magic as magic, then she's also collapsing the Golden Wand, because Red Truth, in this Golden Wand, only my magic exists.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean? It's a pincer attack.
Yeah, I think the thing is like, I'm trying to think of. I have a question. Do you think there's a difference between Angie's magic and Beatrice's magic? Because what I'm trying to say is that like Beatrice's magic a lot, like for example, her endless magic is about basically a action happens and then you basically spin the story a different way. So then the story, like you basically could rewrite what the story's about, and then you know you apply.
Well, not always. Beato can do magic on the fly, like with the candy, for example. She just says, Maria, close your eyes. And then when she opens it again, there's a candy there. So it's not always that way.
Well, technically speaking, yeah, I guess so. I guess the whole like like the candy trick where like, you know, your candy is broken, so I brought you a new piece of I gave you the candy that you gave me earlier, like is the same trick as what Angie just pulled.
Your Sakutaro is broken, so I brought you a new Sakutaro.
Yeah.
It's the same. That's why I'm saying you either acknowledge it as a trick, essentially making your magic a trick too, or you acknowledge it as magic, which you cannot do because of the Red Truth. So that's why I say it's a pincer attack. Angie was actually a fucking tactician here. She was a strategist.
And she plays triangle strategy games.
True. This episode is sponsored by Square Enix.
Honestly speaking, every episode we do is sponsored by Square Enix at this point.
Okay, so
I don't think we have ever went through an episode without accidentally talking about Three Houses.
No, we have. Do you actually believe that, Mushroom? We have. We mention it quite often.
I know. We definitely had episodes. I just think it's really funny that we just can't stop talking about Three Houses.
Because, okay. Now I have to tell you something about Three Houses. Mushroom, I finally reached 500 hours on Three Houses.
That's disgusting.
And that was... I told you about this. But anyway, to the people on the podcast, I reached 500 hours at the same time as I concluded my maddening No New Game Plus classic playthrough, and I feel accomplished in life. I am self-satisfied. It takes one to create a perfect save file.
That's so disgusting as a person. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I love it. Stay idle guard. Anyway, back to Umineko.
Yeah, so...
Do you have any more thoughts?
I think I'm done here. I think at this point, yes, Des, please continue.
Okay, so what I wrote is, in authorship, we mentioned Toya is absent in EP5, probably because that's where he tried to kill himself and ended up in a chair, represented by Beato 2 being in a chair the whole EP5 game. Mm-hmm. The exact time he tried to kill himself, though, is probably what's represented here by when Bernd Castell brings Butler from the depths of non-existence and he is in a vegetative state.
Wow. We solved it. Umineko, pack it up.
You like it? I like it. It makes sense.
I think it makes sense. I think like it makes sense.
He really had a hard time knowing about Asumu. Yeah, okay. This just basically just confirms that even though Toya thinks of himself as a separate person from Butler, Butler's things still affect him this much.
Oh, 100%. I think one of the biggest things that, you know, you read about Toya and that I love to just like interrogate about is the fact that like no matter what like Toya thinks. Like Battler is a part of him in a very like way that like he cannot get rid of. Like there's a really good fan fiction that I like. I think that's on fanfic.net, and it's just about Toya waking up in the mansion of Rokenjima and just being like, where the fuck am I? Like, is this like the story I write? Like, why the fuck am I here? And he just like keep walking through and like basically finding traces of people and then getting confronted by Battler and then just being like, why are you in my body? Leave. Like that feeling. It's like, and like it's like, why are you in my mind? And it's like, it's such a cool way to like talk about it, because it is kind of crazy, like in a way, like to like Toya, like, you know, all of this is very intrusive. Like he's like, I am not you, please, like this is not where you're supposed to be. Like I don't know who you are, I don't believe in your memories, and like none of this is real.
It must be really hard.
Yeah,
just thinking about it.
Yeah, I think like knowing Toya's existence and knowing about how basically his existence reshapes how you read Umineko is so fascinating.
Yeah, I still can't get over the fact that pretty much almost all of the characters from the family, the characters we know, are interpretations of the characters. They're not the actual characters. That still fucks me up till this day.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, at least we get to read about 3 different people's interpretation of the characters, so maybe like that gives you a better idea of who they might be. It's really funny because Dubs would ask me questions like, hey, what if all of like people are written by Beatrice, like how is it possible to have character development? And I'm like, that's a very hard question for me to answer, because
that's a very meta question.
And I'm like, not only that, but like, you know, how could you have character development when your characters are not characters? They're just people's interpretation of a person.
It's because the meta world exists in the meta world and not in written stories.
Yeah, boy. Umineko's good. I don't know what to say. People should read Umineko. I sometimes when I feel sad, I just read the Umineko, like the reviews, and I'm just like, wow, I guess true literature does exist.
Okay, so this thought is just basically me going back to how this part of EP4 feels like the endgame. And when Ange is trying to convince Butler to confront the witch, if I didn't know there were 4 more episodes, I would think, okay, so now Ange is gonna convince Butler to keep fighting, he's gonna solve everything and go back to the family.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. I thank you so much for bringing that up, Des. I actually do want to talk about this. I think it's kind of insane that, to me, that Umineko is written this way, because when I was reading EP4, like, I don't know what you thought, but like in my mind, I thought the end game for Umineko is like Battler defeats Beatrice and then is able to like and he wakes up maybe and then he finds out like all his family's still alive or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
he would go back to the game board and solve things and try to keep it from happening.
Yeah, like, you know, in a very normal world, like that would have been the storyline. It's kind of like the whole like Steins;Gate, now you know like how a thing is done, and now you go back and redo all of the things, and you know that's how you get the ultimate ending, like ultimate good ending.
That is how time manipulation stories go, is try to figure out how to solve it and then go solve it.
Yeah, exactly, which, you know, is like really cool, and that's literally what I thought Umineko was going for, because I was like, oh, I see, like he's now going to go back to Ange and blah blah blah, like this is all gonna work out. But like, no, like it's not about that at all. Like, they are dead. They're very, very, very dead. And it's not about, you know, getting the best timeline or so.
I can't believe Ryukishi was writing these hopeful scenes in EP4, knowing damn well where he was going with the story.
Yeah. It's honestly so cruel, because I just remember being like, oh, you know, like they're gonna work it out, like they're gonna become, like everybody's gonna get back, and then, you know, like we'll live, and, you know, like maybe there'll even be a scene of Ange getting something, like I don't know, like I just like I literally didn't think it's gonna end this way, like, if you know what I mean. Like, this is like the most cruel way of like ending it, which is that like the story has ended before it even started. Everybody was dead this whole time. Sorry. Lol.
Yeah, fuck.
I know, it's fucked. It's fucked.
And my last thought is just Beato wants to be killed, but Bator will fail to kill her for the third time.
Yeah, just Battler, my dude, just
Yeah.
failing to kill over and over again.
He failed to kill her in EP2 where he actually lost the game. He failed to kill her in EP3 where he kind of just surrendered that whole weird thing, and then he's just gonna not be able to solve it.
Well, I wouldn't even say those are the two times. I would say he failed to kill her in EP4, and then he fails to kill her again in EP5, and then he revives her, and then he's like, okay, I guess I have to, like, and then he basically puts her to rest, you know?
Yes, sleep peacefully, my most beloved witch Beator.
Yeah.
You know what else is about to sleep peacefully? EP4, after the next episode, we only have the tea party and the secret tea party left.
Thank God. I guess I did say it was correctly. I guess, like, hopefully we'll have Sayome on the next episode since Sayome has been basically fiending for that episode forever.
Yeah.
And, like, honestly speaking, like, I am excited to finally talk about something else besides Umineko EP4.
We still need to solve the mystery. We promised we would do that after the tea party, so we may actually have yet another episode before the start of EP5 where we just solve the mystery.
I guess so.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Unfortunately, Lorenzo isn't here anymore. He had to dip.
Yeah.
And it takes two to close an episode.
Wow.
So with that said, that's all. Yes, sea cats do crime.
Bye.